Hi guys, today we're looking at the biggest influence on rotation in the downswing, and it comes all down to the wrists, the hands, how they have the biggest influence on that rotation in the downswing. I'm going to explain to you why that happens, what we can do to change it, and how you can become a better golfer by thinking about how your wrists and hands move in that transition area. Keep watching to learn how. So the other day I was with one of my colleagues who's probably the leading 3D biomechanics coach in the world, and he said to me the statement, the wrists and hands have the biggest influence on rotation in the downswing. And I thought, yeah, I'd go with that, I agree with that. Let me explain to you why and how. So essentially at the top of the golf swing, if we have our wrist into a cup position like this on the downswing, you're going to start down with a steep or upright swing plane. And when you start down with a steeper upright swing plane, then in order to get the club onto golf ball, you are going to stall your rotation or early extend to get the club back onto ball. So therefore, you cannot rotate correctly. Secondly to this, if we started down with a good plane but a cupping wrist, so an extending wrist, we're going to increase the loft on the club. And in doing so, in order to get the ball to go straight, you're going to stall your body and flip your hands. So these two moves, altering the plane or altering the club face, are a huge reduction element on how we rotate through the golf ball. And I've talked about this in many of my videos in different areas, in different ways, looking at grip and things like that, and club face precisely. But basically, we need to get the club to rotate correctly through the ball. This is to be in a what I call a square or strong position, and on a correct or shallow plane. Those are the ways in which you're going to rotate your maximum through the golf ball. Now, a slightly steeper plane with a good club face, you still will rotate through the golf ball, but certainly not as much as someone who has it on plane or shallow. The more the club is working from a shallow position, the more you'll have to rotate to square that club up. And the more you'll get the forces and torques trying to drive you in the way to get you to open up through the golf ball. So the secret really is to try and get your wrists working correctly in that transition area to allow this to happen. Now, if I go to the top of my golf swing and allow my wrist to go into what we call flexion, which is like a bowing of the wrist this way, like a John Rahm move or a Dustin Johnson move, if you think of it like that, what happens to the club, if you look at it, the club starts to fall behind me, and also the club face starts to get stronger or more closed. So in doing so, the club will fall behind me here and then rotate to get back online. So what we're looking for is obviously this kind of move in the downswing. Now, in an ideal world, it should be natural. If we swing the golf club back correctly, we have the arms positioned correctly and the lead wrist correctly at the top, we're hoping this becomes pretty instinctive. Most golfers won't do this instinctively. Sometimes it's because of the history of the backswing and so on. But it won't hurt you at all going to the top of the backswing, especially one-handed, lead hand only. Feel that weight change. Feel that wrist change its angle and its orientation, and let the club fall and rotate through the golf ball. As an exercise and an awareness, this is a really good way of feeling it. Then put your two hands on the club and feel you do it. Now, some golfers who are more right side dominant or right hand dominant, you might well feel that the trail hand goes into more of an extended state. So it goes this way. And it wants to go to that way almost to its max range. That's as far as I can extend my wrist. If I felt I did that in transition to this maxed amount, I can definitely feel some tension, some muscle awareness around that wrist. And that helps me get the club doing the same thing, closing and shallowing. The process of getting used to hitting balls with it will very much go for me along the lines of hitting some slow motion shots. Trying to feel we're almost freezing at the top, going down slowly and nursing shots away, probably about 30-40% of our power, and then build that up. Let's try one of those. felt very, very deliberate. And what you do then is slowly build that up to your full speed, full energy, full power, trying to go through the same movements and mechanics every single time. The key is, if we get the club starting down correctly, the right angle of club face, the right angle of shaft, you've got the maximum amount of opportunity to rotate through the golf ball correctly. So instead of trying to fix your rotation, look at why you can't rotate. And almost the same respect, if you can't get the club to shallow correctly, you should be looking at why you can't do that. And if your backswing's perfect, then there's obviously something more conceptually going on there, or a learnt behavior there that you haven't quite got to the bottom of yet. So I hope you've enjoyed that look at why you might not be able to rotate through the golf ball, on the biggest influence on rotation through the golf ball. For me, this is a biggie. Get this right and you'll do well. If you have enjoyed it, please click like and share the video. Also post comments and questions down below and feedback. Tell me a bit about your game. Tell me a bit about the areas of the game you would like help in. I'll make sure I get some videos coming back at you then that are in that area or subject area to help you. Please also, if you haven't followed or subscribed, please do that by hitting my logo down the bottom. Join me on my journey, let me help you improve your golf. And also like and share the video if you've enjoyed it. Lastly, thank you for joining me here today at the Forest of Arden. Hope to see you back here real soon.